Your dreams are not too big for you. They were meant for you. Don't let negative thoughts or other people's opinions make you believe otherwise. The truth is, you have all the tools you need to succeed. Whether it's resilience, creativity, determination, or heart. You've already proven that you can face obstacles and rise above them. You've done it before, and you will do it again. Today, remind yourself of your strength, your skills, and your incredible potential.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Expansion Packs. I ain't even changed my little bottom thing. I am your host, Dan F. Man, here on DGTA TV. Let's get some good background music up in here. So, we getting organized today on Fun Fridays. With a better time to do that. Again, it's fun, laughter, crazy
Don't focus on the people who don't. Your vision will be blurry, but it will grow clear with time. Take care of your body. Remember, health is another form of wealth. Your strongest muscle and worst enemy is your mind. Train it well. Don't react. Cut them off silently. Someone else's progress doesn't make yours any less. Small circle, private life, and peaceful mind. Sometimes we create our own heartbreaks through expectation. Embrace solitude as a time for reflection and self-discovery. We have 4 problems: overthink, overtrust, overshare, overlove. Don't let anyone ever make you feel like you don't deserve what you want. You grow mentally weak when your life is too comfortable.
Step into Wix Studio, the platform for agencies and enterprises. Kick off projects in a world.
Just let it be. If it's meant to be, it will happen. Just be real. It saves everyone's time. Don't share your personal life with anyone. Do not let anyone have anything that could harm you. moment you let go of your discipline is the moment you give up on yourself. Done is better than perfect.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Your worst enemy might just be someone you trust the most. Beware of the wolves in sheep's clothing.
Lord.
Sharing your accomplishments is essential, but avoid the pitfall of oversharing every minor success. Life's most significant achievements often emerge from the depths of adversity. Mistakes are stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. Learn from them and move forward. Self-care is not selfish. It's essential for a balanced and fulfilling life. The value of time becomes evident when it's gone. Use it wisely. Don't pretend to be better than you are. Live life at your own pace. Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. The possibilities are endless as long as you don't limit yourself. Set high standards for yourself and live up to your own expectations. Surround yourself with people who inspire you to become even better. Don't fast forward through life. You'll miss all the good stuff along the way. The company you choose to keep says a lot about who you are. You are in charge of your own happiness. You don't need to wait for other people's permission to be happy. Stop doing what is easy or popular. Start doing what is right. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable. Life did not intend to make us perfect. Whoever is perfect belongs in a museum. Don't bite off more than you can chew, because nobody looks attractive spitting it back out. Prioritize your physical and mental health. They are your most valuable assets. Don't be afraid to say, "I don't know," and seek knowledge from others. Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you are done. Do it now. Sometimes later becomes never.
Right.
When you are winning, keep your mouth shut. Stop trying to create a new you around the same old people. Everything you do doesn't have to be seen or heard. Your words start to lose value when your actions don't match. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Falling down is an accident. Staying down is a choice. Stop being okay with everything.
Right.
Only dead fish go with the flow.
Got my people right there.
Remove the clowns from your life before you become one. Stay quiet about your goals. Soon, your results will do all the talking. Everything is going to be all right. Maybe not today, but eventually. Hope, but never expect. Look forward, but never wait. People who do not understand your silence will never understand your words. Sometimes you need to burn bridges to stop yourself from crossing them again.
HoneyBook completely changed how I do business. I'm a photographer and independent business. It's a fact. Running your own business is hard, but don't make it harder than it has to be. Get HoneyBook. HoneyBook brings my entire client flow under one roof. HoneyBook.
You get what you focus on, so focus on what you want. Where you are in a few months depends on what you do today. Never trust a person that has let you down more than 2 times. Once was a warning, twice was a lesson, and anything more than that is simply taking advantage. If you don't build your own dream, someone will hire you to build theirs. Remember, if you play small, you stay small. Everything is hard before it is easy. The cost of being wrong is less than the cost of doing nothing. The more you face challenges, the less you fear them. If you have the courage to begin, you have the courage to succeed. Things don't happen for no reason. They happen to teach you something. Old ways won't open new doors. Be patient when becoming someone you haven't been before. Focus on the step in front of you, not the whole staircase. If you don't take risks, you will always work for someone who does. Just because it's taking time doesn't mean it's not happening. You have 2 choices: evolve or repeat. Not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear your path. Staying positive does not mean that things will turn out okay. Rather, it is knowing that you will be okay no matter how things turn out. Surround yourself with people who talk about visions and ideas, not people. Sometimes when things are falling apart, they may actually be falling into place. Some people are like clouds. When they disappear, it's a beautiful day.
We're gonna end on them last ones.
Sometimes when things are falling apart, they may actually be falling into place. Some people are like clouds. When they disappear, it's a beautiful day.
Yes, sir. We done. We done right there. What's happening? We are here live on Expansion Pack. Like I said before, I'm your host, Dan F. Man. This is DGTA TV. And all that good stuff. Let me put the actual box in here so y'all can see. Instead of seeing the game, y'all see. There you go. All right, no more motivation. Let's have some fun. Let's see some people writing. Good writing habits.
have to finish this paper.
Pause. I gotta make sure I got it. Because you might know. Yeah. I don't care about that. And I want to see a real person, not you, psyched to go.
Welcome to this video on productive writing habits, which is part of our series on publishing a research article. Understanding that writing is a process will help you to develop productive writing habits. A process is a series of actions towards an end, and with writing, what this means is that we take what is often a very overwhelming task and we break it up into different stages. So a pre-writing stage, writing drafts, and revising. And that will help the project become much more manageable. Some people feel like they need to write perfectly the first time, and this is where they often get stuck. So just to repeat this, the number one stumbling block is trying to write it perfectly the first time. A better mantra to have would be to get something down and then fix it up. And this is what we do with the writing process. So we break it up into these different steps. Each step becomes much more manageable. It helps us to get something down that we can then fix up. So the pre-writing phase is really the thinking phase, and we can do this through writing as well. We can write bits and pieces about conceptualization, around descriptions. For example, if we're writing the methodology section of a paper, in the pre-writing phase we might write descriptions of the research site or of the participants, and all these bits and pieces will become part of the final piece. In the drafting phase, this is where your thinking has been formed already. So what you're trying to do now is to focus on getting the story of your paper down. And the idea is to write quickly without referring to your sources, and not to worry about whether you're making mistakes, because this draft is really for your eyes only. It's about getting your thoughts on paper, which is one of the most difficult parts of writing. You might want to use a technique called free writing, which was developed by Peter Elbow in the 1970s. And this is where you set a timer and you write without stopping. So you don't correct yourself, you don't edit. Once the timer is over, then you can have a look at what you've written, delete what you don't want, add in things, and add in sources. The final phase in the writing process is the revision phase, and this could be a series of revisions. So you could look for different things each time you revise. For example, the first time you revise, you might want to focus on the foundational building blocks of the paper. Does the problem align with the research questions and the arguments, for example? Once you've got those foundational blocks in place, then you might revise for flow, transitions, and you might edit for language. And then the final revision phase would be the proofreading, for spelling, and for referencing conventions. And at this point you might want to go back to the journal specifications and make sure that you've completed their requirements. So productive writers...
Stop right there. Now we'll go to you, psyched to go.
Students with ADHD save 10 hours studying with this Chrome extension.
But no.
How would you react when you hear your friend's sister receives a 4.0 CGPA in her exam? Probably, oh, she's smart. But let's say you watch a tourist not leaving a tip for the restaurant staff while traveling in another country. Do you react the same way? And what about when someone talks to you about their emotions and explains why they feel the way they feel? This is where book smart, street smart, and emotionally smart comes into the picture. Oxford Dictionary defines book smart as being highly knowledgeable about academic subjects, but only knowing a little about real-life people and interactions. On the other hand, some people might refer to street smarts as common sense or having tact. It's also known in the scientific community as social intelligence. Psychologist Edward Thorndike explained that social intelligence is understanding other people, managing them, and acting appropriately in social situations. Being emotionally smart is when you're aware of your emotions and can control and express your emotions while also being capable of managing interpersonal relationships with empathy. With the right habits, you can become academically, emotionally, or socially smarter. With that said, here are 5 habits that will help you to become smarter. Curiosity doesn't kill the cat. Is your mind always searching for answers to these questions? What is that? Who made it? How does it work? If so, you have a curious mind and always feel the need to dig deeper beneath the surface. Research published in the journal Neuron concluded that curiosity is linked to better memory and learning capacity. The reward circuit in the brain becomes active when you're curious. You're more likely to learn and retain information when the reward system interacts with your hippocampus, a brain region responsible for forming memories. Curiosity makes you passionate and interested in a subject, so memorizing information about it becomes easier. Mental exercises. Reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body. Scientist Stuart Ritchie and colleagues conducted a study of identical twins ages 7 to 16, where they discovered that differences in reading during their childhood years influenced their intellectual development. In other words, when you read more, you'll improve your reading skills and can learn more complex knowledge. Reading does not only make you academically smart, but it can make you emotionally smart as well. In a 2013 study, psychologists David Kidd and Emmanuel Castano demonstrated that reading literary fiction helps readers understand other people's emotions better. Each twist in turn allows readers to delve into the minds of others and think critically about them. Empathy, creative thinking, and vocabulary are all developed through these mental exercises. Write your feelings. If writing it is, this dash at the paper of a phrase, this sweep of a brush, that's the question Virginia Woolf asked herself back in 1923 as she wrote in her personal diary. One fascinating thing about this English author was that she chronicled her writing process on a regular basis. She loved to document her feelings and thoughts while she was working on a novel. Emulating this daily habit practiced by Virginia Woolf helps you be conscious of amazing things while emptying negative thoughts out of your mind. According to researchers Kit Klein and Andrea Bowles, writing your experiences in a journal improves your working memory capacity. When you write, you're constantly driven to think about recent life events and their outcomes as you try to express them logically. Researcher James Pennebaker also explained that through journaling, attention is paid to emotional experiences, which may increase the understanding of your emotions. When you journal, you can express your emotions in a safe, self-directed environment, enabling you to become more aware of how you feel and think. Listen to silence. As you meditate, a dreamy voice from the podcast guides you. Whatever thoughts come and go in your mind, simply observe them, as if from a distance. Mindfulness meditation emphasizes being aware of what you're thinking while being in the present moment. A study conducted by neuroscientist Sarah Lazar and colleagues has proven that long-term meditators had more gray matter in the frontal cortex, a brain region that makes executive decisions and is involved with working memory. Working memory affects many cognitive functions, such as understanding language, reasoning, and problem solving. And what's interesting, 50-year-old meditators had the same amount of gray matter as 25-year-olds. Become a people watcher. Organizational psychologist Ronald Riggio says that people who are street smart know how to play various social roles. Being observant of social interactions and subtle social cues will help you understand unspoken social norms in a community. Pay attention to how others behave and what they say to help you read the other person's thoughts and feelings. Also, develop the habit of watching how people of different cultures and ethnicities interact so that you can also be culturally aware and sensitive. Keep in mind that being smart is not restricted to doing well academically. Smartness also means you're attuned to your social environment and the feelings of those around you. Be proud of the progress you make as you cultivate these habits to become smarter. Whether your goal is to be more emotionally sensitive or navigate better in social environments, you're truly capable. And remember, you matter.
Adobe Creative Cloud enables me to work for myself on lots of different projects.
It's always important to try new things in your work. It stops you getting bored. It makes things fresh.
It opens up a whole other world.
Way to get it. They gonna gig me if I don't do, if I don't pick the right one.
Who got I got him, I got him!
Alright, here we go.
Hey, come to me, come to me.
I'm a bumblebee. I'm a bumblebee.
I fucking wanted was fucking bangs.
Oh my god.
What the fuck?
I want you to just breathe in. This one's gonna focus on the knuckle of your knee.
White it. White.
What the fuck? Hey, how's it going, guys? You want to go check out what's going on over there?
I'm a bumblebee.
You notice they don't even talk about the war on drugs no more? You think that's because there ain't no more war? Or there ain't no more drugs? Because for the first time in history, black people ain't making none of the drugs. Look at white people. What? Yep. I'm going to tell you a statistic that's going to blow your mind. There are 0 niggas making fentanyl. What?
Right.
You better believe it, white people. We would notice if niggas was dropping dead for nothing. Well, that shit is beyond dangerous. I said, what you gotta do to die? They said, touch it. And that's when I knew niggas ain't involved in this. We like to touch everything we buy. We would notice niggas dying at the purchase. His last words was, this must be it. You notice they don't even talk about the war on drugs no.
I don't read. Yeah, and I think that matters. Reading is the key to smart, I believe. And I don't do it. I think it's caught up to me. I want to do it. I like the idea of reading. I even buy books. But these books are the most words. And it's every book. You just open it and you're like, what are you talking about? And they don't let up. Every page, just more words. How about you put some blank pages in there? Why don't you let me get my head above water for 2 seconds?
Just look at this scoundrel. Pretending to shake hands with his opponent, he roughly grabs the opponent's arm and pulls him towards him. Such rude behavior is a great disrespect to his foe. Yet,
whenever you bring on a new person, put them through this exercise. If they will not go through this exercise, do not waste a minute of your time with them, because they will never be successful if they won't follow your guidance. Here's the exercise. Take a clean sheet of paper and write down goals in today's date, and then write down 10 goals that you would like to accomplish in the next 12 months. And write them in the present tense. I earn, I achieve, I weigh, I drive such and such a car, I own. And then you take this list of 10, and you say, if I had a magic wand, and I could wave this magic wand, and I could have any one goal on my list within 24 hours, which one goal would have the greatest positive impact on my life? And usually this will jump out at you. Put a circle around that goal. And that's a goal you transfer to a clean sheet of paper, and then you follow the 7 steps. Write it down, set a deadline, make a list of everything you have to do to accomplish it, organize the list into a checklist, take action, and then do something every day. If you'll just do this, nothing can stop you but yourself. Whenever you bring on a new person, put them through this exercise.
So this is what I want you to do with marijuana. You ready?
Smoke more.
What I want you to do is to think of it like a surface symptom. Like the smoking of weed or something for you, it's a coping mechanism that you have right now. Now, we could talk about marijuana as a teacher in and of itself, but we could also talk about it as an adaptive coping mechanism that people try to, in order to calm down or whatever. And what I care about is what's underneath it. So for me, if you get into these positions where you feel like you really want it, don't put yourself under a crap ton of pressure not to do it. It's just when you don't do it, the stuff flushes to the surface that you need to deal with. If you really need it, go ahead and show yourself that you can use it. But in those times when you feel like maybe stepping a little bit into the stuff that's underneath, the painful stuff that's underneath it, the anxiety or the whatever it is that's underneath it, let yourself go explore there. So this is what I want you to do.
There's this revered master who everybody wants to study under, and it's almost impossible to get to him. And so he's interviewing candidates. And the aspiring samurai comes to him and says, "How long will it take me to be a master?" And he says, 10 years. And so then the young samurai, eager to kind of prove himself, he's like, well, what if I work twice as hard and I work day and night to become a master? How long will it take then? And so the master sits back and looks at him and says, 20 years. The young samurai is like, wait, what? How can it take twice as long if I'm working harder? The master replies, if you have one eye fixed on your destination, then you only have one eye left to find your way. There's this revered master who...
What about you, Billy? Billy, what do you want to be when you grow up? And Billy stands up and he says, I want to be president of the United States. And the teacher says, oh my God, Billy, that is a wonderful dream. And Billy means that shit. Billy does everything right. That motherfucker gets his grades up. He joins student government. He even does extracurricular activities like show choir just to make his resume look good. He's on track to be president, but junior year he wipes. When he's 16, he gets his girlfriend pregnant and has to drop out of high school to make ends meet. But lucky for him, the local Walmart's hiring. By the time he's 20 years old, this motherfucker makes assistant manager at Walmart. He's the youngest one in the district. He says, oh my God, if I can keep this up for 4 more years, I could be a manager. And if I can keep this up for 6 more years after that, I could even be a regional manager and have as many as 3 Walmarts under my control. And he's a big picture guy. He sees where this path is going, so he kills himself. What about you, Billy?
What?
Billy.
Do you want me to make money really easy for you?
Yes, please.
Meet a need. This is even more simple than talking to you about purpose. A person in their purpose is going to make money. You've heard this story from me. Abundance follows people in their purpose. But let's not even make it that complicated. You're going to make a boatload of money if you solve a problem or if you meet a need. It's that simple.
I still find it complicated.
Why is it complicated?
Because to me it sounds like invent something that people need.
It's not necessarily always invention. There are certain things that people will always need. Yeah, she's saying there are professional cuddlers now. You're totally right. Yes, straight up way. Do you want me to make money really easy for you?
50% of the story that most people tell about that past experience isn't even the truth. Because they're making things up, and they're doing that so that they can justify why they haven't changed since some past event. 50% of the story that most people tell about that past experience isn't even the truth. Because they're making things up, and they're doing that so that
I had a teacher in the 2nd grade, this Irish woman, who said, whenever I want something, I pray to the Virgin Mary and I ask her for it, and I say I'll do something in return, and I get whatever I want. I'm sitting at the back of the class going, good deal. I went home, I said a prayer, I asked for a bike. My father couldn't afford a bike, all my friends had bikes. I asked for that, said I'd say the rosary every night. 2 weeks later, I walk into my apartment. It was a brand new Mustang bike, banana seat, big handlebars. 2 weeks later, I won in a raffle that I didn't enter. It was a friend of mine who walked into a store and put my name down. So I've been operating my life like that ever since. And Hollywood was the same thing. It was a creation of my mind to begin with. What you do is you put it out there like it already exists. You feel it as if it already exists. And then when the doors open up, you walk through them. I had a teacher in...
Get out of my face, man. You guys harassing me. Yes, you guys are. He's harassing me. Why are you harassing me? You're assuming I'm someone I'm not. Am I being detained? Yeah, you are. For what? Thank you. You think. That's an illusion. That's an illusion. You think. You're wrong. We're not going to play the game. You guys are not going to try to manhandle me. Hey, yo. Hey. You are stupid. I don't know.
Y'all saw the debates? We got spoiled with Trump, man. That nigga makes debates electric. He got up there, they're eating your dogs. Y'all saw the debates? We got spoiled with Trump, man. That nigga makes debates electric. He got up there. They're eating your dogs. They're eating your cats, these people. They're making sushi from your goldfish. They're chopping up the parakeets. Chop, 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 chop. They were like, how you know? I saw it on TV. It's real. Trust me, it's real. I DVR'd it. I saved it.
I saved it.
Remember the first time he got shot? He's like, they tried. They tried to kill me. They failed. I saw the bullet coming. A lot of people don't see the bullet. I saw the bullet. Some people never see the bullet. I call those people dead. They're dead. They didn't see it. I turned my head so fast. I said, woo! That's right. I did the Matrix. Y'all saw the debates? We got spoiled with Trump, man. That nigga makes debates electric.
Oh my gosh.
Don't say, sorry to bother you. Say, I have a question for you. Could you spare me a couple of minutes? Don't say goodbye. Say, see you. Don't say I like it. Say, it's pleasant. Don't say, tell me. Say, I'm listening. Don't say, you go first. Say, after you. Don't say, you're welcome. Say, my pleasure. Don't say, shut up. Say, be quiet. Don't say, I don't know. Say, let me find out. Don't say, I think. Say, I believe. Don't say, calm down. Say, take it easy. Don't say, good luck. Say, all the best. Don't say, I'm busy. Say, I'm tied up right now. Can we talk later? Don't say, I don't care. Say, it doesn't matter to me. Don't say, that's impossible. Say, let's find a solution. Don't say, leave me alone. Can we talk later? Don't say, I hate this. Say, I'm not a fan of this. Don't say, sorry to bother you.
There is no such perfect human being who will not hurt you. Everybody will hurt you. If you're waiting for that perfect on the white horse knight, there is no such man, believe me. First of all, why are you hurt? That's all I'm asking. Mentally, all pain is caused by you and nobody else but you. Somebody is doing what they like to do and you get hurt. Unless they're poking you with something. They're poking you with a dagger, you must move away. But they're saying something. Why are they saying what they're saying? That is the best they know. Yes or no? You don't like to be in an atmosphere, not because it is causing pain to you, because certain atmospheres will not allow you to be effective. So I don't want to waste my energies there, so I'll move elsewhere, but not because they're going to hurt me.
Like, when I was 13, me and my buddy Jaime went walking to a 7-Eleven gas station to get some ice cream. It was summer, it was hot. And I remember it so vividly, it was the last one. And I was about to grab it, but my buddy Jaime's long-ass fingers just got to it before I could. Right when he gripped it, and I'll never forget the sound of this man's voice and the fear that his voice put in my heart, because he wanted us to hear him. This man, this cashier, he said to the woman cashier, he goes, watch this, Brenda. That motherfucker's gonna grab that ice cream and put it right in his fucking pocket. And I knew he was talking about us, man. I got scared, I froze. My buddy Jaime let go of the ice cream. He's like, you don't have any right to talk to us like that. He's like, you may not know this from looking at me, but I'm a hardworking kid. I earn my money, and I don't have to steal. I take a lot of pride in the fact that I work for the money to buy these snacks whenever I want them. And all the adults in the store start listening to the story, and they start cheering on Jaime. They're like, hell yeah, tell his ass, kid, tell him. So all the attention is on Jaime. I grabbed that ice cream, I put it right in my pocket. Like, when I was 13, me and my buddy Jaime went walking to a 7-Eleven gas station to get some ice cream.
Money is a mirror of your capacity to get what you want. This is why it's so important, parents out there, to give your children the concept that they can create something. Okay, so I'm gonna have to say this. One of the best ways to your kids up is to tell them you can't have it because we have no money. You may very well be in a position where you don't have enough money to get the kids the things that they want. So as a parent, this is your duty, unless you want a kid that grows up with severe financial issues in the future, is to say, I haven't done the best. You gotta get off your high horse and take one in the self-esteem rear end for this one. You gotta step up and say, I haven't done a good enough job, I'm trying, but I haven't done a good enough job at manifesting money yet. But that doesn't have to be you. What you want doesn't have to be dependent upon me and my money and my capacity to get it it for you. I really wish that I could do it for you. So what I will do is I'll help you so that we can together try to come up with a way that you can create that thing you want in any kind of creative way, even not with money. What you got to do is take the shackles off kids so that they actually feel that they have the capacity to create what they want in life, and then they will not have abundance of issues in the future. Money is...
Kanye said, only millionaires wear chains. They said, what? He said, I'm a billionaire. Billionaires don't wear their money on their body. I took my chain and I said, oh, snap. He said, I can say anti-Semitic things and Adidas can't drop me. Now what? Adidas dropped that immediately. This guy lost $1.5 billion in a day. $1.5 billion in a day. I saw that. I said, put your chain on. Welcome back. Kanye said, oh.
I've never had a lot of friends in my life, man, because I don't trust people after what the agency taught me about how people work.
When you say they taught you, are you talking about on the job or before you even did it?
Both. When you go through agency's training school, you learn about how human mind works. Your brain and my brain are the same brain, same biological.
Remember that robot from China that can crawl walls?
Yeah.
Now they fully have dispersed it, it's available, and I want you guys to watch this robot and just think about if you saw 1,000 of these coming right on in. Now just think about this. If the military decides to use this thing, this is not it can walk too, but this thing has got wheels. It can go on terrain, it can go in the water, it can go on rocks.
Guy just did a tray flip.
Look at this. This is more efficient than any human. But look at its arms, it's still crawling and walking. And this is fully autonomous. It goes downstairs and no problem. It goes straight into the water.
Oh, wow.
It's like, imagine this. What are you going to do with your... Look at that. You know how hard that is to walk up slippery rocks?
Does it have a weapon system?
Yeah, you can attach guns to it. and drones can drop them off anywhere. Remember that?
As a gangbanger, right? When you go on a mission, you might... When you're looking for your so-called enemy, you driving through a different hood down the street. You know it's an invisible line.
The trap that most people fall for is when they speak, they get stuck in a default rate of speech. I'll be dramatic here. I get stuck at a 2. Watch what happens to your brains automatically if I just, hi, everyone, it's great to be here. You start to feel a pain. So if you get stuck in a slow default rate of speech, not influential, nor is it impactful. But then again, I used to do this because I'm part Vietnamese and I speak really quickly. Hi everyone, really good to be here. Can't wait to take you through vocal foundations. It's going to be amazing. We're going to learn 5 vocal foundations. You're thinking, do Asian South Australians breathe? Really interesting now, because if we go to about a 6, hi everyone, really excited to be here to take you through the vocal foundations for the next couple of days. And as we learn the vocal foundations, what you start to realize in your own heads is what started out as being really engaging after a while becomes monotonous. Isn't that weird? Because then you're thinking, well, what the frick do I do then? This is where you learn the importance of variety. Vocal variety is key. The trap that most people fall for is when they speak, they get stuck in a default rate of speech. I'll be dramatic here. I get stuck at a 2. Watch what happens to your brains automatically.
Most people don't have the empathy and the sympathy that they need to have for other people. It's because they haven't seen other people.
Right.
Like if you went to Ireland and you saw what them people was like, and you went to Sweden and saw what them people was like, if you really went to Africa and you really saw what the people was like, you went to Haiti, you went to Puerto Rico, if you really traveled across the country, you would see that all people is the same. It's way more people that's good than the fucked up individuals you see. And if you understood that, it would change everything. Most people don't have the empathy and the sympathy that they need to have for other people. It's because they haven't seen other people.
Right.
Like if you... I'm gonna say something to you that sounds like a mother made it up, and it's really in the news. The FBI, our FBI, said they don't know whose cocaine was at the White House. What? What type? I heard about your ass shit. Don't bring it to me.
You can call it God, you can call it the nature, you can call it the universe, no matter what. This force, this power, does not make mistakes.
God is not putting you in this earth incomplete. Why would he do that? What he's putting on the earth is existence. He's granting us existence.
Yeah.
And afterwards, it starts that we have concepts. We start thinking. We start having ideas about how this life is supposed to be. If you're not successful, it's not a life. If you don't have many cars, it's not a life. If you don't have many friends, it's not a life. Well, no, this is all human ideas. You came to the earth right from the beginning. You have been complete. You can call it God.
Have you seen this, Mike? So you see that thing around the dog's neck? That's to protect against the claws of the kangaroo. And that's what saved that dog. Oh.
Okay, so he squares up. Looks like dude's a southpaw.
Look at his face go back. He's in shock. I can't believe it.
Have you seen this, Mike?
So you see that thing around the...
We don't negotiate over price. But I don't say that. If you want to know what my price is, I go, it's a lot. It's really expensive, more than you've ever paid. And then you choose whether or not you want to go on. You're going to imagine a horrible price. And you won't allow me to go on until you've contemplated the price and at least said to yourself, all right, so if what I get for this price, it'll be worth it. Now you're actually curious about the package. So now we're no longer talking about price. We're talking about what you get for the price. We don't negotiate over price. But I don't say that. If you want to know what my price is, I go, it's a lot. It's really expensive, more than you've ever paid. And then you choose whether or not you want to go on. You're going to imagine a horrible price. And you won't allow me to go on until you've contemplated the price and at least said to yourself, all right, so if what I get for this price, it'll be worth it. Now you're actually curious about the package. So now we're no longer talking about price. We're talking about what you get for the price.
You're going to make a decision right now today that you are never going to lower your standard of living. You have the potential that God gave you. You've got all the potential in the world. Anything anybody else does, you're quite capable of doing. But you've got to make a decision to do it. And don't worry about where the money or everything's going to come from. It'll come. When you make a decision, you'll always find the money. The way will always show itself. You're going to make a decision.
If you look at the rules on the Monopoly board, in Monopoly, whether you've played the game or not, you should read the rules like an intelligent person and understand that there's clues. It says that if the bank runs out of money, right? And you remember when you play Monopoly and you pull out the money, and eventually the bank can run out of money. But the rules say that the bank can never run out of money because you can just get out a piece of paper and write dollar signs on it that equate to money. And now you can continue playing up until a default hits and the bank can take your liquidity and put it back into their system. So when people tell me that the game isn't rigged, that it's safe, that you gotta be working 24/7 to hustle to make money, you don't know, bro. Money's printed out of thin air, lords of easy money. If you look at the rules on the Monopoly board, in Monopoly, whether you...
I have an insane belief in my own ability to manifest things. Insane belief. I think it's ultimately complete sanity. I believe we're creators, and I believe we create with every thought and every word. Every moment is pregnant with the next moment of your life. We all start out with a false belief about ourselves, with some untrue thing that we believe walking through our lives. I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I'm gonna fail. Whatever your basic mistaken belief about yourself is, you form a personality around. You know, it's the grain of sand in the oyster. So I form characters that way a lot of times. I'll ask myself, what's the speck of sand? I have an insane belief in my...
Don't watch porn at all. Don't even watch porn. Don't even feed that to your man. It's a choice. You could choose to put a sock on your dick and beat it and shoot your precious life force in a sock, or you could choose to get up and put that energy into your workout. You could take your sexual cravings and translate that energy into something else. And it shows. Practice semen retention. The energy gonna be different. Everybody that meet me now say, man, your energy is so different now. Even when I'm around women, they tell me, you know what? I don't get creep energy from you because I don't look at women objectively. And when I catch you, guess what? I'm not gonna play with you.
Exactly.
Don't watch.
What do you think are the 3 habits that keep people poor?
The first habit that keeps people poor is blame. You are 100% accountable for your life, and nobody's coming to save you. If you don't believe that, you'll never create. The other one is the habit of not investing in their skills. I know a lot of people that work hard, they're working hard on the work, they're not working hard on themselves. The third habit, they don't understand money. It's really just
They don't have the knowledge about what money
bad
is.
habits. They're wasteful, they don't spend. Show me your bank account and I'll show you your money beliefs.
What do you think are the 3 habits that keep people poor?
The first habit that keeps people poor.
Do you realize that the most racist scientific community ever were 19th century anthropologists? They're the ones that set up the race and the this, and white male humans were at the top of the evolutionary ladder, and blacks and everybody else were lower, still evolving, closer to the apes and all of this. This was going on for coming out of the 18th century into the 19th century. My point is, in the 1990s, now that we can do genetic tracking and things, now we do genetic tracking, the world found out that Europeans are between 1% and 3% Neanderthal genetically, and Africans are 0% Neanderthal. So in the 1990s, research papers started coming out talking about how creative and imaginative the Neanderthals must have been and how they used tools. A complete facelift of the Neanderthal that started at the time they learned this. Do you realize that the most racist...
You saw the Jazzy interview that he did with Lil Jazzy?
Yeah. I was like, oh.
So after such a successful career, what type of legacy would you like to leave behind when it's all said and done?
I don't know. I don't believe in the word legacy. I just think that's another word for ego. Legacy doesn't mean nothing. That's just some word everybody grabbed onto. I'm gonna die and it's gonna be over. Who cares about legacy after that? No, we're nothing. We're just dead. We're dust. We're absolutely nothing. Our legacy is nothing.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That is something that I have not heard before, someone say that as an answer.
I think Jazzy just turned like 13 or 14. I talked to her pops too, man. My man, he dropped some real life on Lil Jazzy,
She
man.
handled that so well, though.
She was like, that's interesting.
It's interesting. No one's ever answered that question like that.
You're like, you just fucking dust and you fucking, I'm like, you saw the Jazzy interview that he...
By the way, for those of you who are struggling financially in any way, I can tell you the secret to making money. Would you like it? Provide what someone needs.
There is one exercise where you are starting to just close the fist and then start clenching them. So, and now you are supposed to hold this position for, let's say, 4 minutes. 4 minutes under pressure. So this one, not just like waiting, yeah? So 4 minutes full power. But what I want to achieve by that is relaxation. So if somebody would ask me, so what are you doing there? I would call them, it's a relaxation exercise. But this doesn't look like relaxation exercise. But the point is, after you are 4 minutes like this, when you then stop it, now the real relaxation comes. Yeah. There is one.
A while back, I had 2 friends go to prison for selling drugs. And when drug dealers call you from prison, they always ask the same question. They're always like, who would have thought I'd go from driving the Benz to sleeping in a cell? Everybody. That's why we asked you to stop.
Right.
They asked me not to talk about this stuff on stage, but the way I see it, for the next 5 to 7, I can say what I want. When they were dealing like small-time drugs like weed and stuff, we didn't really care. But when they started moving to heavier things, we sat down, one of our friends, and we had like a real serious talk. Like, hey man, don't go down this route, because nobody wants to see you get, locked up or killed. And then he started taking us out to eat to really nice restaurants. And we were all just like, heroin's not that bad. A while back, I had 2 friends go to prison for selling drugs.
That one to me is so crazy that someone is keeping that information from the rest of the humans. Because if we found out the Ark of the Covenant was in fact a real object and we know where it is and it does match the description in the Bible, that kind of changes everything.
I think it was an actual object.
And you think it was some nuclear something or another?
I think it's what is rightly described as an out-of-place artifact. Because if you look at the description in the book of Exodus, the very precise dimensions of it, it's got a layer of gold, it's got a layer of wood, it's got another layer of gold. It's very precisely specified, like a blueprint in the book of Exodus. And then it does all this stuff. It shoots out jets of fire and kills 50,000 Philistines in the city of Ashdod when they open the Ark of the Covenant and look inside, and suddenly everybody in that city is dying, and what they're dying of is cancerous tumors. This is described in the Old Testament.
It's just insane that we know where it is.
The fascinating thing is that Ethiopia is the only country in the world that actually claims to have the Ark of the Covenant.
That one to me is just like, we know where it is.
Yeah.
That one to me is so crazy that someone is keeping...
There is no successful person I know in this world that I would regard as successful who does not at the same time has success on this side and can prove to me on the other side all of the failures that eventually led to his success. We are living in a world which is about life. It is about light. It is about moving upwards. It is about successful. It is about beautiful. It is about higher, faster, better. This type of propaganda of making the human believe this life is one-directional and that you can choose, I think is a misconception. The reality is that this one and this one, losing, failure, letting go, dying, getting sick, it is a part of every human being's lifetime. There is no successful person I know in this world that I would regard as successful who does not...
When you don't have money, you don't realize. Like, think about right now, if someone grabbed your throat and squeezed it, what would you think about? The only thing in the world is oxygen.
Yeah,
right? How do I get more in?
Getting free.
But you're not thinking about it right now because it's abundant. It's not on your mind. But what you don't realize is when money is lacking in your life, it focuses all the time. I would do that for my kids, but I can't. I'd love to take that vacation, but I can't. I'd love to do my own thing. I'm sick of this unfulfilled job, but I can't. I'd love to be at every baseball game, but I can't. It all boils down to money. I don't care what anybody says. You have the money, you're in control of your decisions, you're in control of your calendar. So I didn't realize I spent so much of my life with the throat being choked, but it was money, and I watched that's how my parents lived. I can't go to the baseball game. I can't put the window in the back of the car. We got to get evicted from this trailer because we don't have what? We don't have money. Right? I'd love to say that we live in this perfect world that you don't need money to have choices in your life, but in most cases you don't. When you don't have money.
These are all nonsense that's coming from the West, all those trashy self-help books. Motivate yourself, build confidence, believe in yourself. You believed in God and destroyed so much of this world. Now you believe in yourself, what will you do? You don't have to be motivated. You just have to see how this is alive to its fullest possible level right now. If it's fully alive, it will do everything that it can do, isn't it? What it cannot do, anyway it will not do. What we can do must happen. For this, all that's needed is, you must understand life is a very brief sparkle. It's just poop, poop, poop and gone. Yes or no? Before you know what's happening, you'll be gone. So you don't need motivation for this, you need aliveness. These are all
Kanye don't say nothing I can agree with. Okay. He was the weird guy in the beginning with the pink sweaters when we met him. Like, I don't support or villainize Kanye because I don't understand what it is we want from him. I don't know why we look at a basketball player and say, he didn't score no hockey goals this whole season. He don't play hockey. This dude started a church and kept cussing. Nobody in black church said nothing. You would have thought all the pastors would have came and, you can't be no gospel artist. You just said, fuck that bitch. Nobody said nothing, because T.D. Jakes over there with P. Diddy. Like, but come on, cat. Kanye don't say nothing I can agree with.
Everyone that watches your content, they should be millionaires. They should be following their passions.
They will be.
But not everyone will be.
Yes, they will.
I know a lot of people will, but I think it does rely on your own personal ambitions and goals inside.
Yes and no. Why can't you rewire those goals? And why can't you rewire those ambitions? And why can't you change your mental framework?
I believe in an abundance mindset for myself, but I'm not sure about other people.
And that's not an abundance mindset, because you've just limited everybody else.
Everyone that watches your content, they should be millionaires. They should be following their passions.
They will be.
But not everyone will be.
Yes, they will.
I know a lot of people will, but I think it does rely on your own personal ambitions and goals inside.
Yes and no. Why can't you rewire those goals? And why can't you rewire those ambitions? And why can't you change your mental framework?
I believe in an abundance mindset for myself, but I'm not sure about other people.
And that's not an abundance mindset, because you've just limited everybody else.
Everyone that watches your...
People never do anything once. They have patterns and they repeat it over and over and over again. You see that all the time with politicians. Caught with their pants down and they say, oh, it's not really who I am, it's just happened one time. What you're doing is you're observing what people do, not what they say. People can say anything they want and they'll justify anything they do with words they mean nothing. What matters are the actions. And so you're observing their moves on that board. Niccolo Machiavelli had a concept that he called effective truth. He was looking at the Pope, and he said the Pope of Italy espouses all these great noble things about Christianity, but at the same time, he's amassing an army, and he's winning over these cities in Italy. He's amassing money to pay for his army. He's attacking this city and that city. The effective truth of the Pope is that he is after power. The words mean nothing. The words are a smokescreen. The effective truth is the actions that people tell you, and that is the truth of who they are and what they're doing. So you're focusing on that. People never do anything once.
At the time in England, in the 1200s, there were people who were in the house of lords because they owned the city. That's why when you own land, you're called a landlord. And what was happening is these landlords had peasants living, and those peasants were made to pay a certain levy to the landlords, who paid a certain levy to the king. And what happened is the king pushed up the levy. The landlords pushed up the levy to the peasants, and the peasants were like, we can't pay. So this one particular family leads an entire revolution. They march through the streets, and they eventually arrive at the city of London. By the way, most people don't know that the person who actually founded the walls that protected the city of London is an African, a man called Severus. That's why my crypto startup was named Severus. Basically gets to the steps of the king, and they force him to write a charter. That charter is the foundation of some of the rules and laws we hold to be true in society today. It was the first time it was written on paper that all men are created equal, that all men will be presumed innocent until proven guilty by the law. It was the first time those ideas were written on paper. Ideas we live by today. At the time in England in the 12...
I got out my deal with 50. Fifth was like, listen, I'll let you out your deal. Just pay me back in $300,000 worth of mechanicals. Mechanically, you owe me $300,000 for the investment that I put in it. So I had to pay him back mechanically. So from the sales of my product is how he'll get paid back. So he calls me one day and he's like, listen, I got this idea. I'm gonna say, I don't like you. I'm gonna say, I wanna punch you in your nose. I'm gonna tell you, you owe me $300,000. And simultaneously, I'm gonna mention to them that how can you not have money to pay me when your album is #1? Psychology of people is like, what am I missing? Wait, Ro got a #1 album? Where? What's going on? And that's how it blew. I'm like, yo, this works because he had made awareness to the project. So in making awareness, he's collecting, he's getting his money back faster because it's staying #1 for the next 2 weeks. That was the brilliance of 50 Cent. I got out.
There's a psychological phenomenon called the Tetris effect, which says that the thing that you look at last thing at night imprints on your subconscious more strongly than anything else during the day. When we go from being asleep to waking up, or being awake to falling asleep, they're called the hypnopompic and hypnagogic stages. And they are stages where our subconscious is very susceptible to suggestion. And so I keep my physical action board next to my bed so that I see it first thing in the morning and last thing at night. There's a psychological phenomenon called the...
You have to ask yourself before you start your day, what do I want to bring to the world? Who do I want to become? Let me become that person. Let me disconnect from my outer world. Let me close my eyes. Let me play some music, fill the space. Let me not eat anything, smell anything, taste anything. Let me not move around, experience anything, and feel anything. Let me make my inner world more real than my outer world. Let me remind myself of that 95%, the way I think, the way I act, the way I feel. Let me just get so conscious of those thoughts if I can. I'll start tomorrow, it's too late, it's her fault, it's his fault. Get really aware of how I speak, how I act. Let me remind myself of the thoughts I do want to think. Let me remember them so I don't forget them. How am I going to feel today? I want to feel this feeling, keep bringing it up until I can't forget it. And then don't get up. Do not get up until you feel that way. The experiment is, if I change the way I think, if I change the way I act, if I change the way I feel, will my life change? The answer should be yes, because if you're choosing to evolve your experience, your life should change. You have to ask yourself before you start your day, what do I want to bring to the world?
Did your father, did your mother sit you down and say, son, come on now?
See, as a black family, we would know things is going on, but we don't have confrontation.
Right.
Sit down.
Right.
As a family. Right. Like, we can know our cousin is a crackhead, but we pretend like we don't even see you a crackhead. And like, act like we don't even want to sit them down and be like, bro, why are you on crack?
Right. Yeah.
You feel me?
Right.
As a family,
right.
We just accept it and just keep going. And
right.
It's like, no.
We be so embarrassed.
We don't be embarrassed. We just don't like to address the root. No. So it was like my parents, one thing my mother did say one time that struck me, because she always wanted to have a boy and I was her last child. Right. And I was just going, just doing crazy stuff in the streets. And she was like, man, you know what? You almost really about to make me like say to God that I think I asked for a mistake. Like, why did I have you then? If if this is what I prayed for, damn, they about to make me say I wish I never had you. And that kind of like put a spark into me. I was like, man, I gotta get myself together.
Did your father, did your mother sit you down and say, son, come on now?
See, as a black family,
if you really want to eat some sugar, let's say a cookie, a donut, or whatever, the best time to eat that sugar so that you have maximum dopamine from it, maximum pleasure and less impact on your body is going to be after a meal as dessert. You want to always avoid eating sugar on an empty stomach and always avoid eating sugar in the morning. Breakfast should be savory, okay? In the morning, nothing sweet, because if you have them in the morning, as you digest that sugar, they turn into glucose molecules, and these arrive into your bloodstream really quickly and cause what's called a glucose spike, so blood sugar spike. And then about 90 minutes later, Lewis, your glucose levels are going to drop. You're going to feel a crash. And now it's 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and all of a sudden you feel more cravings for sweet food. You're like, I need a cookie, I need some chocolate, I need a snack.
I need that spike again.
And then you spike again, and then all day you're on a roller coaster where you feel addicted to sugar. If you really want to eat some sugar.
I have a real hard time when people use concepts like heaven or use concepts like, you know, God or source is just pure positive love, because it's a misunderstanding of that consciousness. It's like when you're using a concept to comfort yourself at nighttime. But many of the religions were nothing other than that. It was us just trying to figure out as adults a way that we could be comforted by mom and dad, only this time it's universal. Why I'm saying this is because when people are truly spiritually advanced, I mean truly, not using it as a coping mechanism, you're never going to have them look at you in the face and say, we are divine love. What it's going to be is, we are everything. You are the worst of the worst and the best of the best, and it is all nested within you. And it is your, essentially, job to become as conscious as you can so that you can choose what to bring forward. That's true conscious creation. I have a real hard time when people
We've got to get away from this idea of intelligence as just being intellectual. There's a book I recommend to a lot of people. I probably over-recommended it, by Howard Gardner. He says there are 5 forms of intelligence. There's kind of a mathematical intelligence that has to do with patterns, often related to music. There's a social intelligence that has to do with dealing with people. There is kinetic intelligence, which is moving the body. There's word intelligence. There's another one, I can't remember what it is. Every brain has that natural inclination towards one of these intelligences. I compare it to like a grain that's inside of you, and that you have to move with that grain, you have to find it. And it's one of these forms of intelligence, you have it. You've got to find that one thing. And if it's sports, if it's dance, that's intelligence. Kobe Bryant, my idol, because I love basketball, he's a Michelangelo on the basketball court. It's intelligence. Parents like to say, well, no, you've got to go to law school, you've got to be this, you've got to be an academic, blah, blah, blah. No, it's whatever is that grain of your brain that is natural. You've got to find that. We've got to get away from this idea of intelligence as just being intellectual. There's a book I recommend to a lot of people. I've probably over-recommended it, by Howard Gardner.
Where your heart is, there is the mind. Where the mind is, so where the intention is, there is the energy. Where the energy is, there's the creation. So, if your heart is hanging on something, but your actions are doing something else, that just means your energy and what your heart really wants, they are not merging at all. So the universe doesn't know what do you want, what should the universe give you. So for me, it's all about alignment. What I feel inside aligns with what I talk, it aligns with what I sing, and when everything is aligned, then the energy can just flow. Then it just flows and it just happens. Where your heart is, there is the mind. Where the mind is, so where the intent.
As an orator, I'm taught to study technique devoid of talent. So I've spent hundreds of hours studying Adolf Hitler. When I studied Adolf, Mussolini, so Hitler is probably the archetype of what we call stochastic speech. He speaks like it's a drum beat. This was Hitler, he had a rhythm. But this is how he speaks, he's got a rhythm. And just as he builds up, when he wants something to happen in rhythm, it's harder and harder. He's a rhythm speaker. If you pull the rhythm from him, the words don't carry. And that's why people get riled up, because he's got them in that rhythm, in that emotion. That was Hitler's way of doing it. As an orator, I study across all of those communication sciences. Because whether you're a newspaper journalist, a hip-hop artist, or a politician, you're all trying to do the same thing. You're trying to get a message. And I'm trying to figure out what's the best and most effective way to get that message. As an orator, I'm taught to study
A chance to extend the lead to double digits,
The money
but it's
supply
no
is
good.
being manipulated to your disadvantage.
It's George on the
unless you are
drive.
hyper educated in finance, and that's why the poor get poorer and the rich get richer. Inflation is theft that the government does so that they can do things that they know you'll vote against. They can inflate the money supply, which leaves the same number of dollars in your bank account, but gives them some of the buying power. The right way to think about 2 or 3% inflation is the government saying, look, we're going to steal 2 to 3% of your money without having to ask you for it, without having to make it an official tax. We are going to take it from you. And because we do that, saving money doesn't serve you, because your money will be worth less tomorrow than it is today. So you have to go gamble, which we're lovingly going to call invest, but you're going to have to go gamble that money to try to make a return that is greater than the amount that we steal from you. The money supply is being manipulated.
What most people do is they say, I want the new house, the new car, the new relationship, and then they visualize that. But when they visualize it, they never get in touch with how it would feel if it happened. They're hypnotized into feeling the emotion when it happens. So they may do a little meditation and they open their eyes and their senses say it's not there. What do? They experience more lack. You have to truly change them. Close your eyes, disconnect from the environment, sit your body down, don't get up and do anything. And now, teach your body emotionally what that future feels like before it happens. You have to stay in the feeling of that future in order for you to be aligned to that destiny. When there's a vibrational match between your energy, it's synchronized with some potential in the quantum field. You no longer have to go anywhere to get it. You're going to begin to draw events or experiences to you, and they're going to come in a way that you cannot predict. What most people do is they say, I want the new house.
You beef with Fat Joe, Ja Rule.
I was here when you punched Ja Rule in the face. Right down there, right on that corner, at the hotel out in front. And he was like, and then he came out and they was like, Ja Rule, what happened? And he was like, oh, nothing. He had his sunglasses on. He was like, yeah, something happened. You've been bullying for a long time.
That's not bullying. Look.
This is how we got right into the action.
My response wasn't what he was expecting. I was like, niggas, that shit is whack, you a sucker, and that's some fucking sucker shit, bop, bop, bop. So then we get into our thing. I'm the only nigga in this motherfucking rap industry that can say they put hands and feet on a big bad bullet.
Have you ever got a lawsuit?
No. Okay. Nah, you always get other stuff, like behind the scenes stuff.
You beef with.
If I go over here and take this young lady by the throat and choke off her air, within seconds she's aware that oxygen is a requirement for life. If I lock her in a room with no water, within a few hours she will begin to suspect that water is a requirement for life. If I lock her in there long enough that she gets ravenously hungry, she will begin to suspect that food is a requirement for life. The oxygen time effect, or cause-effect time relationship is very close, a matter of seconds. Water, a matter of hours. Food, a matter of days. Exercise is just as important as any of those things, but the time factor is much greater, spread out in time. So that if you don't exercise, you don't immediately become aware of it. Might take you months or years, by which time you will have done irreversible damage to yourself, and some that perhaps isn't irreversible. If I go…
When Swami Vivekananda, many years ago, said, "You give me 100 youth who are truly committed, I will change the face of this nation." Are we so impotent that we cannot produce this 100 youth? We must be able to produce millions of youth who are truly committed to know what is the truth about our existence, what is the truth about our success, what is the truth about our failures, what is the truth about the beautiful aspects of our life, what is the truth about the ugliness of our life. If you do not seek, then you are not a youth. Don't become old when you're young. When Swami…
Your subconscious mind is marvelous, but what it does is it only thrives on goals that you pronounce in the now, in the present tense. You now have a dynamism, it's called a dynamism in your brain, where your brain knows that you're only earning this amount of money, but now you're saying, but I earn this amount of money. Your brain knows that you're not a millionaire, but now you're saying, I am a millionaire. And so your brain goes to work to close this gap between where you are and where you want to be. And your brain starts to work 24 hours a day, and it works and it gives you ideas. Each person here has what is called the superconscious mind, and this mind has been talked about for 5,000 years, and some call it the oversoul, and some people call it the God mind, some people call it God, spirit, whatever it happens to be. But there's this incredible power in the universe that you can tap into. You can just reach into it by simply writing down a goal clearly on a piece of paper, and then this mind goes to work 24 hours a day to bring it into your life. Your subconscious mind is marvelous.
Why do you think there is no country in the world where Jewish people are poor? You think that's by mistake? Just think about that logically. Why do you think even in our own communities, Indians specifically, Asian Indians who are Muslim, are phenomenal business people? You think that's by mistake? No, it's because the grandfather started with the dry cleaner. When the grandfather passed, he left the dry cleaner to the father, who created a fast food and the dry cleaner. The father leaves the fast food and the dry cleaner with the son, who then creates a hardware store. By the time you go to the township, they've got the entire block and they run it. Radical economic transformation starts in the mind. We have to start as black people by understanding you're not going to get a Range Rover tomorrow. Start where you are, do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do. Why do you think there is no country in the world where Jewish…
Okay, I want to try something. Sell me this pen.
Sir, this is a marker.
And Charlotte
okay, sell me that marker.
Do you need a marker?
Well, I actually don't need a marker right now.
Then why do you want me to sell this marker?
Because I want to test to see if your sales skills are good.
Sir, if you don't need something, why the hell would I sell something to you? If a customer does not need a thing, I will never sell a thing to him. Because my father used to always say, believe what you want to sell before you sell.
I don't want to hear about your father anymore. I don't want to hear about anything. Just give me that pen back.
My father would not be proud.
Give me the pen back.
It's a marker.
Okay, I want to try something. Sell me this pen.
Sir, this is a marker.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it normally takes crisis, trauma, disease, diagnosis, betrayal, loss. A person has to reach that lowest denominator where nothing's making that feeling go away.
Has to.
Well, not they don't have to, but this is the human condition. This is the moment where they don't feel like returning the texts. They don't feel like going to dinner and seeing the same people. They don't feel like watching the same television show any longer. The sports car, none of that is making this feeling go away. This is a moment of reckoning for the soul. And this is really when you could actually see yourself through the eyes of someone else because you don't feel like yourself anymore. And that's the moment where people begin to change. Unfortunately, normally...
You will come back in another body?
No, no more. This time is the last time. I have been coming into bodies again and again, but this time it is the last time. After enlightenment, you cannot come back to the body. That is the only disadvantage.
That one's off. And in recent seasons,
I'm confirming this to you for sure. I'm not coming back. Because expiry date is long overdue. Long. To an extent. People who are a little more perceptive clearly see that I don't even exist.
You will come back and...
Did drugs, Molly, Xanax, you don't drink.
I was 21, I ended up getting into a screwball with a couple of my brothers. I got stabbed up, I got a big scar from right here all the way around, about right here. Got hit twice right here in his hand, got hit in my back, got hit in his hole. My brother died on the scene, came back, my other brother got stabbed in his head. In the mix of all that, the Lord knew I sell dope, so he said, you ain't hard-headed, but you just determined. I don't need you to be a good drug dealer. Right. So if I take your hands away, now you gotta use your brain. So now I didn't have my hands for a couple months, like 9, 10 months, and all I could do, this is when my memory started to get better, because I had to remember things. I never remember the phone number. I could remember 20, 30, 40 phone numbers because I can't write. Right. I could remember raps and music because I can't sit down and write no more, so I had to go to the studio and remember it in my head. I started to recuperate, and I was still heading down the wrong path. I wanted to sell dope. And my partner, Fatty Page, was like, bro, you need to do these Vine videos. Once I started, the blessings just started coming abundantly.
Did drugs, Molly, Xanax?
Yeah.
You don't drink?
I was a pill popper, man.
Yeah.
I was 21.
You want to know the #1 strategy of the top 100 families in the world?
Yes.
Okay? It's teach your kids to create value first, not money. Because money is a store of value. You have to go back to first principles. If you focus on value creation, material value, which you create and produce in the world, solving problems, financial reward is the reward of that. Emotional value, good friendships, how you think, how you feel, spiritual value, how you love, how you live, mindset, lifting you up above your issues to a higher calling, to God, getting out of your ego, and that's spiritual value. Yes. So if we can teach our children, hey, we're gonna be value hunters in this home, that is the #1 greatest asset you could ever give them. It's an unfair advantage for the rest of their life. You want to know the #1 strategy?
To the free throw line in this one.
First-time founders build a business on a product. If the business plan is like, my product is amazing and the pen works and the pencil moves and when you do this it erases, I can tell you right now it's his first business. Because he genuinely thinks the quality of the product is going to win. Second-time founders build a business on distribution. You can have the best device, but if you can't get it into the hands of the customer, no one cares. Third-time founders will build a business on an ecosystem where they aggregate both the product and the distribution through their platforms. There's a movie out right now. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It's about the story of BlackBerry. When iPhone came out and destroyed BlackBerry, BlackBerry was a superior device. The things we now use on our phones, like WhatsApp and Botim and Telegram, encrypted messaging, BlackBerry had that with Messenger 15 years ago. So to be clear, Steve Jobs introduced a product that technologically was not superior to the number one product in the marketplace. And he still destroyed them because he had an ecosystem on the Play Store and he had distribution with AT&T. So it didn't matter that Research in Motion had the best device. He had the two things that mattered. First-time founders build a...
I can tell you that if you are willing to see that thought as just the thought in your brain and you're curious what's on the other side of that thought, yeah, you're going to feel uncomfortable. But if you had some tools and skills to apply and you were able to take your attention off your cell phone and settle your body back down into the present moment, that would be a victory. And then your body would say, come on, you gotta feel a little frustration now, you gotta be impatient, you gotta be judgmental, come on, that's what you always think, that's how you always feel. And you, like an animal, you settle the body back down into the present moment and you tell it it's no longer the mind day, you're the mind. That's a victory. I can tell you that if you...
There is no such thing as sexual energy. I know people are writing books about their sexual energy. There is no sexual energy. There is just life energy. You can make this into sexuality, you can make this into anger, you can make this into intelligence, you can make this into awareness, you can make this divine if you are willing. So that's why I said, you must create a moment for yourself, at least a moment, where there is no compulsiveness. At that moment, what you see as the highest possibility for you must plot your whole life in that direction, not somewhere else. Otherwise, at every moment when you look like this seems to be important, when you look like that seems to be important. You will be all over the place.
The more you share your plans, the less power they have. It's like letting the air out of a balloon before it even has a chance to take off. Each time you share your goals prematurely, you are essentially giving away a little piece of your energy, your focus, your commitment. Think about it. When you tell someone your goal, what's the first thing they do? They usually offer an opinion, a suggestion, or worse. And while they may mean well, those opinions, those doubts, they can seep into your subconscious, planting seeds of uncertainty where once there was unwavering belief. The more you share your plans, the less power they have.
When your heart begins to open, you start to feel elevated emotions like gratitude, joy, or inspiration. And you breathe and feel those emotions. The heart begins to beat in a more rhythmic fashion, and it begins to produce a very, very measurable magnetic field. That energy is a frequency, and all frequency carries information. So as you begin to elevate your emotional state, you're literally changing your physiology. When you begin to feel elevated, that energy carries a thought. So lay the intent of some experience you want to have. Now, that means then, when you combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion, you're literally changing your energetic field. When there's a vibrational match between your energy and some potential in the future, all of a sudden now you don't have to go anywhere to get anything. You start to see it come to you. When your heart begins to open.
Imagine that because you don't have a mate and you don't have any friends and you don't have a job and you don't do anything productive with your time, etc., that you're kind of a loser. And what does that mean? It means compared to other people, you're not doing very well. Hyper-competent people have their lives together on all those fronts and they're thriving in all those domains. And you are at the bottom of the hierarchy where everything has fallen apart and you're barely clinging to the edge of the world. There's a mechanism that sets your perceived security and utility, a marker for that. The lower you are in the hierarchy, which is the more unstable your life is, the less serotonin your brain produces, and that makes you hypersensitive to negative emotion and suppresses positive emotion. And so true depression, which isn't having a terrible life, true depression would be a mismatch between your actual competence and your self-perceived competence. Imagine that because you don't have a mate and you don't have any friends and you don't have a job and you don't do anything productive with your time, etc., that you're kind of a loser. And what does that mean? It means compared to other people, you're not doing very well. Hyper-competent people have their lives together on all those fronts and they're thriving in all those domains. And you are at the bottom of the hierarchy where everything has fallen apart and you're barely clinging to the edge of the world. There's a mechanism that sets your perceived security and utility, a marker for that. The lower you are in the hierarchy, which is the more unstable your life is, the less serotonin your brain produces, and that makes you hypersensitive to negative emotion and suppresses positive emotion. And so true depression, which isn't having a terrible life, true depression would be a mismatch between your actual competence and your self-perceived competence. Imagine that because you don't have a mate.
Should I give you guys a book on perception? I'll give you guys a book on perception because I know you ain't gonna read it anyway. I dare you to read it. If you want to learn how to build a brand, you must master the art of persuasion. How do you persuade somebody to buy into you? Guys, I'm giving you books I would never show anybody. The art of persuasion, the character. Should I give you guys a book on perception?
Whatever picture you hold in your mind, the brain releases complementary chemistry that matches that picture, and it releases it into the body. And the chemistry of the blood is what controls the genes and the behavior. Children, when adopted into a family where there's cancer running in that family, the adopted child will get the same family cancer. But the point, the adopted child has totally different genetics. What was the point? It was being adopted into a family where the programming of that child is what caused the cancer. It's consciousness who releases the chemistry to the environment that controls the genes. And you can change your consciousness, and you can change your environment. And all of a sudden I said, oh my God, we were programmed to be victims. It turns out we are masters of our genetic activity. And this is the new science called epigenetics. Whatever picture you hold in your mind.
All right, y'all. This was fun today. I'm going to watch a couple more of these. We get some motivation or something, and then we'll get up out of here for the...
He gets to the bucket. George will hammer it home. Ball passes to MP. Inside. Williams in the post. Embiid covers. Here's Prosper. Paul George pulls down the board.
I think at the last second he decided to get slick.
I met a man who was 100 years old. He ate everything on the table. He smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day, drank a pint of whiskey every day, and he loved the women. I asked him the secret of longevity. Well, he said it's very simple. He said, I have no grudges, no peeves, no resentment, no hatred. Every time he said, when I open my eyes in the morning, I say, this is the day the Lord hath made. Rejoice and be glad in it. Then he said, I say for about 10 or 15 minutes every morning, the rejuvenating, revitalizing power of God Almighty flows through me like a golden river, vitalizing, transforming every atom of my being, so that every atom of my being dances to the rhythm of the eternal God. He found the secret of life. Secret of life is joy, inner peace, the invisible ingredient. I met a man who was 100 years old.
Have you ever had an experience where you're thinking about somebody and the telephone rings and it's them? Have you ever had an experience where you phone somebody else and they say, we were just talking about you? It just leaps into your mind? Have you ever had an experience when you're in tune with your husband or wife and you think, you know, I'd like to go out to dinner at such and such a place tonight, and you call home and they will say, why don't we go out to dinner at such and such a place? These are all examples of this law of attraction. The law of attraction is considered by many to be one of the most important laws of human existence. In this, you will always attract to yourself, positive or negative, people and circumstances that harmonize with your dominant thoughts. Have you ever had an experience where you're thinking about somebody and
every day I get up, I'm ready to just cut people off. I'm ready to throw all the wrong relationships for all the right reasons. You could be my mama, I do not care. I'm on my mission. I don't even like talking about it. This shit scared me.
Off the mark, had a chance there
Something
to trim it to
just
single
made me
digits.
say this. So somebody
Just
probably
hasn't been
need
able
to
to find
hear
his
this.
rhythm offensively, and that's having
Think
a
I'm
ripple
lying,
effect.
that's cool.
Hooked loose.
I don't have
with
to
a
rap
steal.
today. I can stop today and I'm gonna still live how I'm living. I don't give a fuck about this material shit. I don't know where it is because I have a brother that was murdered named Mazzy. He loved jewelry. I don't know what jewelry him. Like as an honor for him, I don't give a fuck about none of this shit. The only thing I ever promoted on my Instagram, if you really go back and think about it, was God and my family. I never showed none of my cars. I never showed none of that shit. Every day I get up, I'm ready.
A lot of people out there who struggle with depression or even subclinical depression, where they don't necessarily have a diagnosis, will struggle to pull themselves out of it. They'll analyze their situation and they'll recognize, okay, I need to do this or I need to do this, but they can't seem to, despite all the logic, bring themselves out of it. And on the flip side, we also have something incredibly scary, which is that sometimes when people are really, really depressed, or even things like suicidal, they're actually really logical about it. And this is what's really challenging, is if you try to talk to these people, you'll oftentimes find that their logic is actually really sound. And even in the cases when it's not really sound, you can try to convince them otherwise, but it seems like you sometimes hit a brick wall. And if you're struggling in this way, you may have noticed that you may try to argue against yourself, but your mind always comes to the same conclusion. A lot of people out there who struggle with depression or even...
If you're not being defined by a vision of the future, then you are left with the memories of your past, and you'll be predictable in your life. If you're not creating anything new, that means you're believing in your past more than you're believing in your future. So then if the person is living in anger, impatience, resentment, frustration, and they're holding the intention of their future, there's no vibrational match between anything in their future, because they're saying, why hasn't it happened? And they're waiting for their healing to begin so that they feel gratitude. They're waiting for their success to feel abundance or empowerment. They're waiting for their new relationship to feel love. Well, that's the old model of reality of cause and effect, waiting for something outside to change how we feel inside. And if you're living in that lack and you know that you're creating your future, you're creating more lack. And if you're reacting to the people and conditions in your life that are all known to you, then your thoughts and feelings are equal to everything that you know. You keep creating the same life. If you're not being defined...
Put your mask on first. Put your mask on first. See to your survival first. Then you'll be more capable of taking care of the survival of your children.
It's the 2K
Isn't that interesting?
showing the teams with the
My father had an interesting saying. He said, son, right after me, you come first. Wow, that's okay.
Taking them to the bank.
I was in business with Bob Cummings, the old movie star. We were in the health and nutrition business together back in the 60s, 61, 2, 3. Bob had an interesting saying. Here's what he said. I'll take care of me for you. Will you please take care of you for me? Put your
What you didn't hear there, let me translate it for you, America. When it snows in the mountains and it melts in the spring, all the water comes down, becomes a creek, becomes a river. And where does a river ultimately go? Out to the ocean. And long ago they said, maybe we should put reservoirs here because that's fresh water. And we could collect the water so it doesn't just go into the ocean, and collect it in reservoirs, and then we could pump it for people, we could use it for fire, we could use it for a lot of things, because there's a lot of people moving to California, a lot of people here. That's what that Governor Newsom, in the name of some fish, said, we're removing these dams. And when they remove the dams create the reservoirs. What you didn't hear there, let me translate it for you, America. When it snows in the mountains and it melts in the spring, all the water comes down, becomes a creek, becomes a river. And where does a river ultimately go?
Before we close, what do you think is the number one thing people just don't understand about money?
Ooh, well, I think what I would like to say to that is people don't understand the way the economic system works. And the reason why that's important is because, fortunately or unfortunately, rather unfortunately, it is profitable to keep people financially uneducated. It's profitable to keep people poor. And now you might hear that and say, just what are you talking about? That sounds really bad, negative, and evil. Well, if you understand the economic system, which is something I wish the school systems would teach, our economic system runs on spending. That means the more money you spend, the more money somebody else makes. If you don't spend your money, and you save your money, and everybody else starts to do that, our whole economic system would fail.
Before we close, what do you think is the number one thing people just...
And I don't know if it's true or not, but they say you got your master's degree in psychology.
Yes, sir.
Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's true.
Only to learn one thing.
What's that?
I hate to say this.
Say it.
We was already masters.
You got your master's degree. And I don't know if it's true or not, but they say you got your master's degree in psychology.
Yes, sir.
Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's true.
Only to learn one thing.
What's that?
I hate to say this.
Say it.
We was already masters in psychology. We was already masters just coming from the street because we already dealt with so many personalities. We just didn't put a big label on it. You know, it's a gray area. It is no black and white. Every day when I meet somebody, I'm doing the individualistic approach. Every day. We was already there. We got the lettering and the documentation that just confirmed that we was already great. I ain't need nobody to tell me this. We already do this through life's experience. That's why I kind of like, it wasn't a waste of time. It just was confirmation to who I am.
And I don't know if it's true or not.
The latest research in epigenetics says that it's the environment that signals the genes. Genes make proteins, and proteins are responsible for the structure and function of your body. The expression of proteins is the expression of life. But if you're interpreting your environment the same way every single day, you're thinking the same thoughts, demonstrating the same behaviors, living by the same emotions, you keep the same genes on and the other genes off. Throw in the hormones of stress, which really downregulates genes to create disease. Then the question is, if the environment signals the gene, and the end product of an experience in your environment is called an emotion, can you signal the gene ahead of the environment? And the answer is absolutely yes. The latest research in epigenetics says that it's the environment that signals the gene. Genes make proteins, and proteins are responsible for the structure and function of your body. The expression of proteins is the expression of life. But if you're interpreting your environment the same way every single day, you're thinking the same thoughts, demonstrating the same behaviors, living by the same emotions, you keep the same genes on and the other genes off. Throw in the hormones of stress, which really downregulates genes to create disease. Then the question is, if the environment signals the gene, and the end product of an experience in your environment is called an emotion, can you signal the gene ahead of the environment? And the answer is absolutely yes. The latest research in epigenetics...
The freaking Matrix.
That little movie.
The Matrix.
Yeah, you know.
That's my single favorite movie of all time.
Miller, for his part, knocked back
Really?
down and said,
Yes.
how the league
I
is
don't
built
know if you're
now,
ready to
Paul
see
George
what
is
I
the
want to
racist
show you,
this
Neil, but
generation.
it was the most original thing I'd ever read. That didn't mean that everyone was going to get it. That didn't mean that everybody was going to understand it. I just knew that it was the most original thing that I had ever read, and I understood it, I got it, and I wanted to be a part of it. And the timing just so happened that we were right at the birth of the digital age. We shot the movie in 1998. The movie came out in 1999.
Just the digital world descended on everyone.
On everyone. And essentially what the story is and why it resonates with everybody all over the planet, and it did at that time, is because it's the old myth told in a digital format.
The freaking Matrix.
That little movie.
The Matrix.
Yeah, you know.
That's my single.
Finding your purpose is very simple. It starts with figuring out what you like doing and what you can't not do. I got a good question for you guys. You want it? It's actually going to be the same answer, but
shot clock at 6.
What if I had all the money in the world? I'm talking like every cent you could possibly want or have forever. Finances was never a concern. What would you spend your time doing? What if you made no money at something?
Layup is good off the glass.
What would you spend your time doing? Finding your purpose is very simple. It starts with figuring out what you like doing.
He's coming off a huge performance, and his confidence couldn't be any higher. And his coach knows that too.
When it ain't broke, leave it alone until someone stops him.
I have a good friend who for many years struggled with alcohol and drug addiction. Crashed his truck at 7 in the morning after getting intoxicated at 6:30 in the morning. Got out of that one, happened again and again, multiple rehab centers of this sort of standard treatment, etc. He told us, his friends, that he was going to go to a center here in Los Angeles that treats addiction with essentially religion. You can imagine we all thought, including myself, like, okay, dude, like, good luck. He's been sober more than 4 years. He got out of there and never looked back. I have a good friend who...
If you don't have an income, you don't have any tax. So this is what wealthy people are doing. Elon Musk, he's probably the biggest example of this. He never got paid a salary running and owning Tesla. He got paid in stock options. But the stock options that he gets, or originally got, were at $6 a share. So when the stock went up to $1,000 a share, and he was given millions of these stock options. Now, he has, on paper, a lot of money, but that money isn't in his bank account. So what he does is, instead of selling it and having an income, he goes to the bank and says, hey, I have these stock options which are worth billions of dollars. How about you give me a loan? He takes that loan, pays 3 to 4 to 5% interest on it, and if his company grows, his stock value grows by 6%, he just made a profit. He didn't have to take any money out, never took an income, doesn't pay any taxes. If you don't have an income, you don't have any tax.
One important element of why human beings will become mentally ill in the next 15 to 20 years, a lot of people are estimating there may not be a single family left without one mentally ill person at least. That's what they're saying. So this mental illness, why? See, one thing is, in the last 100 years of industrial level of agriculture, one thing that's happened is, we are only seeing soil as a resource. Soil is not a resource, it's your source. It is the source of your life. It is the largest living substance or system on the planet. If you take a handful of soil, it has 8 to 10 billion organisms in it. It is the most intense life and the largest living system, not just on the planet, in the known universe. It is the largest living system. One important element of why human beings will become mentally ill in the next 15 to 20 years, a lot of people are estimating there may not be a single family left without one mentally ill person at least. That's what they're saying. So this mental illness, why? See, one thing is, in the last 100 years of industrial level of agriculture, one thing that's happened is, we are only seeing soil as a resource. Soil is not a resource, it's your source. It is the source of your life. It is the largest living substance or system on the planet. If you take a handful of soil, it has 8 to 10 billion organisms in it. It is the most intense life and the largest living system, not just on the planet, in the known universe. It is the largest living system.
The reason why simple things like love, happiness, peacefulness, being meditative, these things look so far away for a lot of human beings, they think it is coming from heaven, is they're in a continuous state of imitation. They're not functioning from who they are. They are constantly imitating the society around them. Otherwise, why would Indians behave one way, Americans behave another way? Once you imitate, there is no quality of your own. If you came from within, you would know to be loving is very, very natural for a human being. You don't have to learn this from anybody. You don't have to import this from heaven. It is very natural for a human heart to love. It is a certain sweetness of emotion. The reason why simple things like love.
And we gonna go ahead and get on up out of here for the day. I'm your host, Dan F. Man. This has been another great week of Expansion Pack. Sew up this fun Friday in the right way. And I'll see y'all next week on Mindful Mondays. This is DGTA-TV. Leave y'all with a nice little previously recorded matches. Alright, y'all. Peace.
It could be a surprise toast. Or finally, it could be during the Q&A session. And by the way, we will leave plenty of time at the end of our day today for Q&A. I'd love to hear the questions.
Things. It's so easy to fall into the trap of self-doubt. Sometimes we doubt our abilities, question our worth, or feel like we're not good enough. But I'm here to tell you that you are capable of amazing things. You have unlimited potential inside of you, and the universe is waiting for you to tap into it. Your dreams are not too big for you. They were meant for you. Don't let negative thoughts or other people's opinions make you believe otherwise. The truth is, you have all the tools you need to succeed. Whether it's resilience, creativity, determination, or heart. You've already proven that you can face obstacles and rise above them. You've done it before, and you will do it again. Today, remind yourself of your strength, your skills, and your incredible potential. I am capable of amazing things, and I am ready to embrace them. 3. I am in control of my thoughts and emotions. Life can throw a lot of things our way. People might challenge us, situations might frustrate us, and unexpected events may try to pull us out of our center. But here's the truth. You are in control of your thoughts and emotions. No one else has the power to dictate how you feel unless you give them that power. And let me tell you, you are stronger than any external circumstance. Your thoughts are powerful. They can either lift you up or drag you down. Every morning, make the conscious decision